So hello everyone, my name is Becky with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today we are going to be doing our command overview. So we'll be going through command, the ins and outs, and the different things that can be done within command. A couple of things before we do get started. First of all, I will go ahead and let you know today's class will be pretty fast paced. There's a lot of information to cover and not a ton of time. Now, I'm going to, for the first half of class, we'll be talking more of the back end settings and things like that. And so I'll go in more depth on those. And then towards the end, we'll do a brief overview of the different applets in command, which I promise that will make more sense when we actually get into command. If you're not familiar with the applets, I promise it'll make sense here in just a couple minutes. But we do have classes on each of the applets individually. So I'm going to do more of a brief overview for those just to tell you what they can do and kind of give you a very brief overview of what it looks like. But for the most part, for those if you're looking for in-depth instruction on those, feel free to drop it in the chat and I can help you find the most recent class on that or the closest upcoming one. So I'm more than happy to help find those for you. But that part, it will be a pretty fast-paced overview on that. I just wanted to give you a heads up. We also have a class immediately after, so I apologize if I talk fast. I just want to make sure we can get everything covered in the amount of time that we have. Today's class recording will be available on our YouTube channel in about 24 hours. We do always aim for end of business day. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat for you. It is just Scott Leroy Marketing on YouTube. Now, when you are on our YouTube channel, we do always recommend that you look for the most recent videos. Things are always changing, both with command as well as the services that we offer here at Scott Leroy Marketing. The easiest way to find the most recent videos is using this videos tab right here. It's going to put the videos in reverse chronological order. In other words, it's going to have the most recent video up at the very top, and they will get older the further down you scroll. So you'll be able to find the recordings for all of our daily classes. We also are posting tip videos all the time, walking you through different aspects. Those are going to be a little bit shorter videos that kind of cover more small options. So, or more small things that you would be doing in command. All right. So we have that. If you have any questions as we go through today's class, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll do my best to get them answered in real time. Otherwise, I will save a couple minutes at the very end of class just so we can make sure we get through those questions and get them answered for you. So if I don't answer your question right away, I promise you I am not ignoring you. I will do my best to get it answered, or I may save it for some, another part of the class where it fits in there. And a lot of the time questions do get answered as we go through the material. So, but feel free to drop those questions in the chat. I want to make sure I get those answered for you today. If you're watching this back on recording and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us via email. Our email is support@scottleroymarketing.com. I'm going to drop that in the chat for everyone here as well. Again, it is just support@scottleroymarketing.com. There we go. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into command. Now, if you are not familiar with command, you can go to agent.kw.com, and that is how you will sign in here. So again, agent.kw.com. I'll drop that in the chat as well, just to make sure we're all on board here. So we're here at our command. And the first thing we have is our sign-in page. Now, here's where you're going to sign in. So you'll just enter your username and your password. Now, when you do enter those in, it is important to note that your username is not case sensitive, but your password is. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure you have it all capitalized properly in your password, especially if you are copying and pasting your password from somewhere else. Just go ahead and pay attention to that password. Sometimes, since all of the passwords do require a special character, sometimes when you copy and paste from somewhere else, it drops the special character when you go to select it, especially if you're double clicking to select. And it can also sometimes add a space before or after the password. So if you are getting an error when you enter your password that you're copying and pasting from somewhere, just go ahead and click that eye icon, make sure that it's entered properly. It doesn't have any spaces before or after the password, because that will give you an error message. If you forgot your password, you can click this forgot password button. It is going to ask you for your username. You'll enter that in. And then when you do enter it in, it's going to send an email to your password recovery email. That is going to be a personal non-KW email due to KW's security policy. That way you don't get locked out of your command if you don't have access to your KW email or something along those lines. So they do try to keep that separate just so you have better chances of not being locked out of your account. Um, so yeah, so it will send an email there, just enter the code, and then you can enter your new password, and you should be good to go on that. I'm going to go ahead and click sign in here. Now, sometimes as well, if you are signing in on a new device, you are signing in for the very first time ever, or you're signing in for the first time in a while, or you've recently, cleared your cache and cookies, anything along those lines, it will generally ask you for a verification code, and that will be sent also to your personal non-KW email. I will show you where we can find that recovery email in a couple of minutes. If you are not getting emails to your recovery email, or if your recovery email is incorrect and you cannot access your account to change it, you can either reach out to us, support@scottleroymarketing.com, or you can reach out directly to your Market Center staff, as they will have access to update that on their end as well. So you can get into your account without any other problems there. So I will show you where you can change it within your account if you're able to get in. But we'll look at that in a couple of minutes. All right, so now that we are signed in, we are at our command dashboard, and everyone's command dashboard can look a little bit different. It is fairly customizable. You can click this customize button in the top right corner, and then you can select which widgets you want to appear on your home screen. So we can go in, we can add more in, we can remove some. So we can go in, and then we can also drag and drop them around. So you'll just grab those 6 dots and you can drag that widget to wherever you want it to be. And you can do it on both sides. Now you'll notice that these are the little ones, so only those little ones can fit on the side versus the big ones. So size-wise, you can rearrange them that way. But we'll go ahead and we'll click apply here. Then it will go into effect there. Deletes never contacted, recently active, birthdays, and anniversaries. Those 4 will stay as they are. They cannot be adjusted or removed or anything. So those 4 will stay as is, but the rest can be customized however you would like it. So we'll start by working our way across the very top. So we've got our command is the first thing we're seeing here. Now we're going to come back to command in a little bit. We'll come back to command multiple times actually. So we'll work our way down the left-hand side and in the second half of class. So we will work our way down that side, but we'll keep going across the top for now. So next we have Connect here. Connect is going to be a built-in resource library for you. So you have the option to find different class materials. They have their self-study courses. They have resources on pretty much anything, a lot of things real estate related, as well as some command related items as well. So you can go in, you can view any that you've saved, you can browse all through here. You can see your events calendar here. Now the events calendar is going to show events for your market center, for your region, and for KW International. So KWRI, if you hear anyone refer to it as KWRI, it stands for Keller Williams Realty International. I know I've had that question a couple times when I referred to it as KWRI. It's basically just a long way of saying KW. It's the international way of saying KW. So KWRI refers to KW Realty International. So just so you know, that piece of information there. But you'll see all of those events through here. Now, if you are not seeing events here, that is not necessarily something to be concerned about. Not all market centers do actually use this built-in calendar. A lot of market centers use a different calendar. So if you're not seeing any events here, or you're not seeing all of the events that you know are coming up, just go ahead and reach out to your market center staff. They'll be able to provide what they do use for their event calendar so that you have access to that. So they'll be able to help get you access to that, whether they use this calendar or not. I'm going to go back over to our learning. And we can also toggle over, again, we can say browse all, which I am going to show you here. So you can see all of the different courses they have. So we have the Keller Williams University courses. They have self-study courses as well as different topics with our MREA, ALC if you're in ALC, Ignite, things like that. So they have a lot of different options through here, value squared. So they have a lot of their courses through here. If you're a Market Center staff, they have the Leadership Hub that you can check out. They have information on listings, working with buyers, lead generation, market of the moment, command, KW events, and welcome new associates. I do want to highlight the welcome new associates, especially if you're looking to find your Market Center logo. You can go here to the welcome new associates. Now, if we scroll up to the very top, we can also search here under the Connect library and say either new associate, and it should pull up. So once you find that, you can click new associate essentials. And through here, it's going to, once it loads, you'll have a couple different options in here. So they have a bunch of different things. So they have some different videos here that you can check out up at the top. And then they have the red label store where you can get KW branded gear, health, vision, and dental benefits, getting started with profit share, conversation frameworks. And we also have this logos and branding section. So I'm going to open up the logos and branding. Now, under logos and branding, you are going to see some good brand resources here. So we have the KW Identity and Style Guide. That's going to give you the guidelines for Keller Williams promoting yourself within Keller Williams. So it will give you the guidelines there for how to represent Keller Williams when you are at doing, promotions, advertising, things, marketing, things like that. Now, I will also say that in this identity and style guide, they do also have the color codes for the KW colors. So if you're looking for the specific shade of KW red, or the dark gray they use, or the light gray, those are also available with their hex codes in the KW identity and style guide. So it's definitely worth checking out. You can go find that in there. Next, we have the ownership statement and information on that, the onboarding guide, and the primary logo collection. Now, the primary logo collection is going to be the classic Keller Williams primary logo. So it will just be the KW with Keller Williams underneath it. If you click download now, it will download a zip file, which will have a bunch of different color variations of that same logo, as well as file types from EPS and PNG and JPEG, things like that. They have a bunch of different types of logos, so file type as well as color variations. Next, you'll have the Market Center logos here. So you can search for your Market Center name or number. So we could say, we'll say search by Market Center name. We got that here. And then once you click on that, once you select your Market Center, you're going to see the Market Center logo appearing on the right hand side. It will give you a preview here, and we can click download logo. Again, it will download as a zip file, which will have a bunch of different file types and color variations. So if you're looking for the all white logo, the red, gray, black, so you have options for those. And then down below, we also have all of the variations of the Keller Williams logo. So we have the classic primary KW Keller Williams logo. We have the primary logos with the word realty, with real estate, the informal logos as well. So just the KW, just the linear. So you have all of those options there that you can download. And again, all of those are going to be zip files that you can download and grab which logos you need. Go back out to our connect here. Actually, we'll go back to command, so we're back in a familiar place here. So the next thing you're going to see on my screen up at the top is Command MC. Most of you are likely not in Market Center leadership. So if you are Market Center staff, feel free to check that out. And if you have any questions about Command MC, feel free to reach out to us via email. Command MC is just for Market Center staff. So again, most of you won't have access to that. So we're going to skip over that for today's class. But again, Market Center staff, if you do have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to us via email. We're more than happy to help out with that however we can. Next thing you're going to see is these 3 stars with KWIQ next to it. That is going to be KW's built-in AI chatbot. So you can ask it questions about real estate. You can ask it questions about command. It's got a lot of answers in there, so you can just start asking questions and it will pull in from the KW resources. So it is AI, so always make sure you're reviewing it for accuracy. AI isn't perfect, but can definitely be a helpful resource for you if you are looking for a quick answer. Next, we have the KW Marketplace, which is going to be this storefront logo right here. So when we open that up in a new tab, when Command was originally created, it was built by agents for agents. And so in keeping with that, they created the KW Marketplace. And so they wanted to be able to integrate as many platforms with Command as possible. Now, obviously, you can't necessarily integrate every platform there, but they do have a bunch of options. We can go to technology and integrations and see that they have a ton of options through here. So Twilio for texting your contacts through Command is a great option. A lot of agents do like to use that. So you can use it, you can connect it through here, purchase a subscription there. API Nation integrations, they have a bunch of those as well that you can take a look at through there. We're going to go back out to our Command dashboard. And then the next thing we're going to see is this notification bell right here. So the notification bell is going to have all of your Command notifications. Now your Command notifications can be anything from opportunities that have been submitted to compliance and you're getting feedback on whether those documents were approved or rejected or conditionally approved, or your compliance had a comment to add to it. You would get all of those in your notifications, as well as notifications on leads from your website and things like that. So your notifications are definitely something you do want to be checking. It will also notify you that you have tasks due. Now you can adjust your notification settings. Just click that settings cogwheel up at the top, and it will bring you to your notification settings where you can choose what you see in those notifications. So the notification applet, the notifications are going to be based off of what applets you have access to. So if you are in Market Center staff, you will have more options. You'll notice that I have more options than probably most of you do in yours. So you may see different applets depending on what you have access to. But let's see, we'll go with our contacts since everyone will have a contact applet there. So it can be dependent on whether you're Market Center staff, if you're on a team, things like that. It can change what you have access to there. But we can see right here through our contacts applet, we can choose our desktop in-app notifications. We can turn them on. Now, any that have a lock next to them are going to be permanently enabled. Those are just because they are very important notifications, knowing that your contacts import was complete. If it failed, things like that. Now, this one also has some team options in there. But you'll be able to toggle the rest on or off, and you'll notice that that only locks the desktop in-app notifications. We can control our mobile in-app or our mobile push notifications as well if we do have our Command mobile app there. Now, back to our notifications here, we will also be able to see our red notifications for 90 days after they have been marked as red. So you could go in, you can click mark all as red. You can go in and make sure you review all of them. Probably your best bet is to review them, but you can go in and mark them all as red if you need to, and you can see the different notifications through there. We'll go back here. Did not mean to click the notification settings again, but I did, so that's okay. Next, we have our name here in top right. You can click on that and you will see a drop-down menu appear. Now, the first thing you'll see is My Profile. Under My Profile, this is going to be an internal-facing profile for the most part. So this is what your Market Center will see on their side, as well as any agents in the KW referral network who are looking at your profile. This is what they would see, but this is not going to go on your website or anything like that. Now, if you do scroll down, the languages spoken will appear on your website, so that one you will want to make sure is up to date, but nothing else would appear on your website from here. That can be adjusted in the marketing profile, which we will talk about at the very end. Down here, you're going to see your real estate license number. Now, your real estate license number can only be adjusted by your market center staff. So if you are not seeing your if you're not seeing your real estate license, or if you are seeing it entered incorrectly, the expiration date is wrong, anything along those lines, you would want to reach out to your market center staff. They can get that updated for you on their end, get that added in so that you would be all set there. On the left-hand side, you have the My KW section where you can see your KW UID, your KW start date. You would also be able to set up your KW email through here. Now, this is a demo account, so unfortunately, it doesn't have the option for us to create a KW email, so I can't show you that at the moment, but you would have the option to create your KW email. You have your KW communications email right here. So this is basically what is set as your primary email here. Now, this one is important to make sure you have access to. If you are, for example, exporting contacts from command, it's going to send that file over to this email. So you just want to make sure that this email is one that you have access to on your account. So whatever your KW communications email is, you'll want to make sure you have access to, as well as making sure you get important notifications from KW. They don't send a ton of notifications, but if they do, they're usually pretty important. So next we have the account access section, and this is where you can update your username. You can reset your password through here. And you will also see your password recovery email. So this is the one we talked about at the very beginning of class, where the code would go to if we were to reset our password, or if we're getting if it's requesting we enter a code to sign in, it would be going to this email right here. Now, again, if you do not have access to your command account and you do not have access to the password recovery email, that is not a huge problem. You can just reach out to your Market Center staff, or you can reach out to us, again, support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'd be able to help get that updated for you from our end. So no big reason to be alarmed. We can get it changed pretty easily there. Next, we have the My Affiliations section. Now, on your screen, if you have your MLS ID added, you will see a section right above your Market Center name that says, I believe it says My MLS or My MLS IDs. I don't remember exactly what it says, but it's one of the two. It will have MLS in there, and it will be directly above your Market Center name. So if you are not seeing that and you do have an MLS ID, you are a member of an MLS, you will want to reach out to your Market Center staff. That is one other thing that they would have to adjust on their end and get that added. So you would see that through there. We can see our Market Center information here. Now, again, if you click on your Market Center, if you are a licensed agent and you've been activated as an agent, meaning your license number has been added in, then your screen here will look a little bit different. You will be able to view your CAP status. So you will be able to see, your progress on your CAP, both your company dollar and your royalty amounts. You'll be able to see those. It will have a little graph there that you can see how far along you are in your progress. I can go back out to our command home here. That's there we go. We click our name again. We see the marketplace here, which we already looked at earlier up here under this one. Next, you'll see the settings applet, or it's not really an applet, I guess. But you'll see your settings here, and this is where you will connect your different applications. So you'll connect your Lone Wolf, your DocuSign, or not DocuSign anymore, effective, tomorrow. So your Lone Wolf, your Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, X. For post scheduling, your Dotloop account, your Google Calendar or Gmail, as well as you'll see your email services and your Twilio that you can connect down below. Now, your command email here, that is going to be a separate email from your KW email. The command email is an email address that is used for all of your emails sent out through command. So smart plans, email campaigns, sending direct one-off emails through the contacts applet, things like that. Those will all be sent through your command email. The command emails currently will display a different email from your KW email. So it will usually be agent with a string of numbers @mailer.kw.com. So it will look a little bit different. The reason they keep your KW email and your command email separate is, especially with the command email, there's a higher risk of being reported as spam. And if your email gets reported as spam too many times, then it will automatically shut down your email. So they don't want that to happen to your KW email for obvious reasons. So they keep them separate for you. If your command email is deactivated because it's reported as spam, then you can reach out to KW support and they can help reactivate it for you. But keeping them separate does help make sure that you aren't locked out of any of your important emails through your KW email. So we can click manage here. It's going to send a email. It's going to send a code to our verification email or to our recovery email. So I'm going to go grab that real quick. Let me just a second. There we go. So we'll just click verify. Now, anytime that KW gives you a pop-up that looks like that and sends a code, it's generally because it's considered sensitive information. Now you'll notice it didn't actually take me exactly where I had told it to take me. You'll just click that button again and then it will pull up. So it's kind of a two-step process there. You'll enter the code and then you'll have to go open it up again and it will display that time. So through here, you can see your email usage. So your command email, you have up to 5,000 free sends per month. You can also purchase more if you need more than that. If you have a large database that you send out email campaigns to frequently, you may need that. But you do have 5,000 free. You'll also see email configuration down below. So you can adjust the sender name. So you can change that so that it will still display as your information. And then you can also change the reply to email. So when someone replies to your email sent through command, where does it go? You want to choose the reply to email that works for you. So you can choose from your KW communications email, your KW email, your recovery email, or you can add a custom email. So you have options through there. On the left-hand side, we have some more settings here. So we have our general settings. We have our team management settings through here if you're on a team or if you're adding a guest user to your team, to your personal account, you can do that through here. Notification settings, which we already looked at through our notification bell a few minutes ago. Command settings through here, we have the settings for your contacts applet. So you can find your contact archive, you can find your database wipe option, contact tags, lead management, lead sources, database cleanup, and custom fields. You can go in and adjust those through here. Next, we have the opportunities settings. So your email update settings, opportunity tags. The opportunity archive has actually been moved, so it will tell you it's been moved if you click on that. I'm going to minimize those. Next, we have reporting, which will have your activity tracking settings through here. So reminders and things like that, specifically for teams. Marketing, default marketing accounts, specifically for teams, but they can also be overridden on a case-by-case basis. Smart plans, your designated agents, as well as your time and date settings for smart plans. Time zone settings for tasks, your import and export logs. You'll be able to find those here as well. Under connect settings, it currently says marketing profile, but that has also been moved. It does have a hyperlink here. I'll show you how to get there closer to the end of class. It's one of the last things down the applet menu. So we'll cover that in a little bit. Global settings, your languages and your contacts for your default country code. And then it will also probably show Command MC settings. It sometimes shows that even if you don't have Command MC access, you can just disregard it unless you actually are Market Center staff and you need to get to the Command MC settings, which you can do through there. Alrighty, back to our command home here. Drop down menu under our name. You will see command training here. That is going to bring you to connect, which we went to earlier, but it will bring you to the category for command specifically. So it will bring you to the command training there. If we click this question mark in the top right corner, you're going to see a couple different things. So guided tours are currently unavailable, but you will see the Keller Williams University. That is going to bring you to answers.kw.com, which I definitely recommend checking out. They have written step-by-step instruction on how to do pretty much anything and everything in command. So they have a bunch of written articles if you want, if you're someone that likes to read the steps, they have those here, and usually they have screenshots in there as well to help out. Next, we have chat with support. Now, chat with support, this is going to put you directly on, well, you'll click on it. You can either leave a message for KW support, or you can chat with them live during their business hours, which I believe are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. So we can adjust it back by that, but with whatever time zone you're in there. But you can do that. So Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 Eastern time. No, never mind. I think it's 10 to 6 Eastern time. I would have to double check that. Sorry about that. But yeah, so they would be available there 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, okay. I just double checked that one. But you would be able to chat with them there. And next, we also have post an idea, which that is going to bring you to ideas.kw.com. Also, something definitely worthwhile to check out. So if you'll remember earlier, I said Command was originally built by agents for agents. And so with that, they also created the ideas portal. So ideas.kw.com, you can either go through Command like we just did, or you can just go directly to ideas.kw.com. Totally fine. But through here, you can post ideas for features you want added to Command. So any new ideas you have, you can go and post them. You can also search and see if any other agents have posted that idea first. A lot of times, if an idea is helpful to one agent, the odds are that there will be another agent who will find it helpful as well. So they definitely encourage you to post your ideas here. If someone else has posted an idea already, go vote on it. You can add comments explaining why it would be helpful for you in your business. KW does always review those. They do not guarantee that all of them will be implemented. There's obviously not a way to guarantee that all ideas will always be implemented, but they do promise to read through every single one of them. I personally, in my time here, have seen multiple ideas get implemented from the ideas portal. So it's definitely worth checking out. Definitely a great way to make your voice heard for features that you want included. So definitely something to check out there. Now, if we go back out here, all right, we've made our way across the top. Now we're going to work our way through the applets. Now, I know I've let some people in since I said this at the very beginning of class, but we're going to move pretty quickly through the rest of this. There's still a lot to cover, but we do have classes that cover pretty much everything in here specifically. So I'm going to do more of a basic overview for those, just so we can make sure we get through everything in time. So apologize if I move a little quickly through them, but again, we have classes that walk you through each of them in detail. So definitely worth checking those out on our YouTube channel. So first one we have is our contacts applet. Now our contacts applet is where we have our database. So we can add contacts, we can import them. So if we click import contacts here, it may ask you for a code. Since I just did the verification code for our command email settings, it's not requiring a code right now. But it is also considered sensitive information by KW. So they do have it, behind a password there. So, or a verification code, really. So you can choose who's responsible for imported contacts. So it's generally going to be yourself or your team, depending on where you're importing those into. So if you're in your team account, then you would be able to choose between your team and your personal. If you are in your personal account, they're also called business accounts. So you may see those options here as well, with you owned by you personally or by your business account. Either way, you'll have full access and full ownership. As the rainmaker of your business account, you would have full access and everything that way. Either way. So it shouldn't really matter just in your personal account. If you're on a team, that's where you would want to make sure you set the ownership either to yourself or release the ownership to the team, whatever your agreement with your team is. Primary assignee information here. So primary assignee is who's primarily going to be working those contacts usually. So that's primarily for teams. Now, if you have a business account and you are assigning them to, maybe you have a admin who's your guest user, you can assign them as the primary assignee, or you can leave it yourself, either way. Next, we hit continue. And here we have the option to download a template. We do go into this more in our database overview class. So you can download the template. Definitely recommend using the template for importing contacts. It's more, a little bit more work up front, but it tends to be smoother when it comes to actually importing contacts and making sure that you aren't missing data afterwards. So I do recommend sticking with the template. This is also something you can reach out to us, support at scottleroymarketing.com. You can send us your CSV file. We can help reformat it for you, and we can even help import it for you. So if that's not your forte, it can definitely be a little finicky. That is something we are more than happy to help out with. Again, just reach out to us via email, send us your CSV files, and we can import up to 5 CSV files per agent per month. We can create contacts individually as well through here. So you can enter in their full name. Full name is the only required field, but you can add whatever information through here you want. So adding relationships to link contacts, primary email, phone number, lead source, tags. You can add as many tags as you want through here. Additional contact information. You can add multiple email addresses and phone numbers and addresses through here, as well as their social media profiles. Under About, you can enter their legal name, the description, birthday, home anniversary, relationship. So you can add more relationships down here. Up at the very top, you have the option to add a relationship, but it will only allow you to add one up here. So if you go down, you'll be able to add more through here as well. And then we have custom fields. Custom fields are fantastic. You can go in and create a field for whatever you want your field to be. So you'll see that we've added a couple in here in previous classes. Things like their favorite pie. A lot of agents like to do a pie giveaway, especially in November, around Thanksgiving time. So you can definitely kind of add in their favorite pie as you know it. And that way you can kind of keep track of, the different things about your contacts that you want to know about them. It also makes for, a great personal touch if you're maybe looking for a custom closing gift, or just remembering little details about your clients. This is definitely a great way to do it. You can add custom fields. You can create your own custom fields here. Super simple. We also have, we can search through all of our contacts by first name, last name, email, or address. We can filter by who they're assigned to, all agents, ourselves, or the team. So you can go in and see who they're assigned to through there. Those will only show ones that you have access to. So in this case, we're the rainmaker for our business team, so it shows us as well as the guest user we've added. So you would see those. But if you are just an agent on a team and you are not the rainmaker of the team, depending on the permission levels, you may only see your own contacts through here. So just something to be aware of. Next, we have filters here. And we have filters upon filters. There are a lot of options for filters through here. This is honestly one of my favorite things about the contacts applet, that and our custom fields. But they have so many options for filters, which makes it really easy to find your contacts. So you can find whichever contacts you'd like through here. So your tags, obviously going to be a great way to filter your contacts. Definitely recommend tags. You can add as many tags to a contact as you want or need. So there's no limits there. Just go, apply tags, go crazy with it. But you can go in and apply tags however you want to sort your database. So it's totally customizable, totally up to you. But we also have other options. We can filter by lead source, team site connection, which means are they connected? Do they have an account on our website or our consumer app? The assignee, collaborator, owner. So those are, who's assigned to them on our team. Neighborhoods, recently active, when they were created, when they were last modified, last contacted, smart plans, birthday, home anniversary. There's a ton of options. And if that's not enough, we also have advanced filters. So we can go in, we can click advanced, and we can say, for example, maybe we want to, we can filter by our custom fields. So we can go in and we can filter by our favorite pie, and we'll say it's not empty. We can apply that, and we'll see any that have the favorite pie added in here. And so you would be able to filter that way. There's a ton of options. So you can exclude certain tags if you want to as well, add a filter and exclude tags. there's a ton of options. I'm going to switch back to basic filters and I'll bring us back to where we were before we went in there. But we have options through here. Next, we have the tasks applet. Now the tasks is going to be a built-in to-do list. Tasks can be created a couple of different ways. So you can manually create tasks. Tasks can also be created by smart plans. They can also be created within a contact, and they can also be created by opportunities. So there's a lot of options through there, but they can be a great way to keep yourself on task here. So you'll see your tasks here they have to do. Now, this is a demo account, so hopefully you have less than 477 tasks. We should probably go in and clear that out a little bit, but you'll be able to see those tasks in here. You can see any that have been completed in the past and any that have been archived as well if you need to go look at those. Next, we have our Smart Plans applet. Smart plans are basically a set it and forget it type of plan. So you can go in and have it automatically send out emails to your contacts. You can have it, if you have Twilio connected, it can automatically send out texts for you. It can automatically assign tasks for you. So there are a ton of options through here that you can go in and create your own custom smart plan to just automatically start sending out emails. If you go to the Smart Plans library, there are some as well that have been published by other agents, by Keller Williams. So there are a bunch of smart plans already created, but you can also create custom smart plans through here as well. So possibilities are virtually limitless here. So you can go in and play around with those if you'd like to. Next, we have the referrals applet, which is where you can find other agents in KW. So these are, exclusively KW agents through here. So you have the dashboard, which will just kind of give you an overview of all of the rest of it. Under my referrals, you would see any sent and received. Under my network, you would see any agents in your network. And then we have the referral map. Now the referral map is super cool. Through here, you can find other referral partners. So you can just zoom in. I always wind up zooming in somewhere that doesn't have a lot, but especially when we switch to Market Center view. Okay, so we'll see all of these map pins right here. Now to start out with, it is automatically going to set it at production view. Now the production view is going to show agents that have had production in the past 12 months. And each of these map pins is actually a different property that was either listed by that agent or they were the buyer's agent. So buyer's agent or listing agent for that property in a transaction that occurred in the past 12 months. So that's going to have a map pin with the actual property, which is fantastic if you have a contact that you're looking to refer out who has a specific neighborhood that they're interested in. You can zoom in and find agents that have worked in that neighborhood in the past 12 months, so that they know the area in that. So definitely a good tool here. Now again, this is production mode, so it's only showing agents who have had production in the past 12 months. So if you are not, maybe you're a brand new agent and you're not seeing yourself here, that's totally to be expected in the production mode if you haven't had any transactions. We can switch over to the Market Center view and it will show all of the agents within that Market Center. You can even search by associate name right here for specific agents when you are viewing it by Market Center. You'll see your network view, so you can see any agents in your network. We don't have any, so that's why I'm going to skip that. But next we have the referral patterns map. And this one is super cool. So the referral patterns map is going to show you basically where people are moving from and moving to when they are referred within Keller Williams. So again, it is based off of KW referrals through the referrals applet, not referrals of all, real estate brokerages of all time, but it will show you some referral patterns here. So we can switch our center point location. It does automatically set to Austin, Texas, since that's, KW headquarters, but we can go in and we can change it. Let's see, we were just looking at Des Moines. So we can, no referral patterns, that's cool. Let's grab somewhere else. Let's go with, let's see, we'll go Denver. Denver. There we go. Yes, people aren't really referring to and from Iowa, or Des Moines at least. But anyway, we have through here our Denver. So this is where referrals are sent out. They, first ones, a lot of the time it will have the first ones go to somewhere else in that same state. But you can look further down, next one we have is Scottsdale, Arizona, Albuquerque, Inglewood, also in Colorado, Honolulu. So you have options. You can kind of see where those referrals are going to and how many of those referrals go to those specific places. So we can see send referrals where they're going to. So you can find where you want to have a referral partner in any of those places. We can also see received referrals, which will show where referrals are coming from when they are coming into the area. So any of those places would be great places to find a referral partner, since you know that a lot of the time people are moving from that specific area to your area. Next, we have the opportunities applet. Now, the opportunities applet is going to be where you can track your transactions from start to finish. It's where you will upload documents for compliance for your market center to approve. So you can go through there, and you can find all of those opportunities. You can create them and things like that. Next, we have the marketing applet where you can create paid ad campaigns. You can create email campaigns. This Designs applet, if you were familiar with the Designs applet in the past, they've now, sunset the old Designs applet, and now they only have email designs in here. But you are definitely encouraged to go to canva.kw.com, sign in with the same logins you use for Command, and you'll be able to access Canva through there. It tends to work a little better than the Designs applet used to anyway. So definitely works very well. Next, we have social posts. You create social post campaigns, as well as direct mail campaigns if you want to send out postcards. Next, we have the reporting applet where you can find different reports. Now, this also is going to be based off of the different things you have access to. So if you're on a team, you may see some different ones. If you're in market center staff, you may see some different reports available here. One that pretty much everyone will have will go to our communications reports right here. We can go over to emails. Now through emails, you're going to see your email delivery and engagement metrics. So you can see your account usage, your delivery and engagement, reputation metrics. So if your email is marked as spam, you would be able to see those through here as well. Next, we have the listings applet, where basically we can integrate our MLS in here. Now, your MLS ID does have to be added on the back end of Command, like we talked about earlier, and your market center staff does have to do that. So you would be able to sync your MLS here and kind of just be able to see all of those MLS listings in the same place. It is not a replacement for the MLS. You do still want to use the MLS. And I definitely encourage using the MLS for anything that you would ordinarily use the MLS for. But it is another option here to kind of have everything built into Command. And then finally, we have our websites applet here. So through here, you can manage your settings. This is going to be your marketing profile. So this is going to be all of your external information. So we have different ones, your site settings, which is primarily your team settings, as well as your agent profile. Now, this is what's going to show on your email campaigns. It's what's going to show on your website, on your social post campaigns and things like that. So it's what's going to show up on your as your branding public facing profile. So definitely make sure this is all up to date with the correct information, so that you can have all of that work out. We go back out here. We also have our My Website. We can click Manage Website. Now here you're going to see a couple different things you can adjust. There's not a whole lot you can adjust through this view right here. We can switch and add blog posts. We can change the theme of our website. So we can change the color theme. We can change it. They have some different options, as well as we can change the font through here. So you can go in and grab any that you want through there and save the changes, and it will adjust for you. And we can go ahead and say publish to save the changes. Then we can go up here to expert mode. And expert mode is where you would do really all of those back end edits. So you would just go in and make sure everything was, you can create new pages, you can create custom pages, you can edit existing pages, This is where you will do most of the customization for your website through here. So there's a ton of options. You can go edit those pages individually. And yeah, so that really is all we have for our command overview. I know I did just let some people in. If you are here for our Getting Prepped for Lone Wolf class, that will begin here in a couple of minutes. We are wrapping up the class we had beforehand. So I will have to end this Zoom in a couple of minutes and it will kick you out. You can just enter back through the same Zoom link and we'll let you in that way. So give it just a couple minutes and I will end the Zoom. We'll answer some questions first. So if anyone has any questions, we can go ahead and drop them in the chat. I say I have one. I'll grab that in just a second. But if we have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I do have a couple of minutes here to answer them. Again, we do have a class immediately after, so I don't have a ton of time, but I do have a couple minutes. We can get through those. So go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I'll get to those. Yeah, if you're not sticking around for questions or for our Lone Wolf class, feel free. You can leave whenever, totally fine. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and a fantastic rest of your week.